Okay, here we go with 8.2 day 2. Now, today we're going to be working with finding the greatest common factor and then factoring a monomial from a polynomial. The second half of this is a little bit more challenging than the first half. The first half you probably have had some experience with in the past, and so now we're going to make this and put this into a little different setting. So here's the book's explanation about it, but what I'm looking for is I want to find the greatest common factor of this particular trinomial. So what I start off I look for the x that will go into all of them. Okay, now x to the third won't go into x to the second, and x to the second won't go into x to the first. They're too big. But x will go into both those two, so I'm going to factor out the x first. Then I'm going to look at the numbers. I have 5, 25, and 45. Well, again, 25 won't fit into 5, so the factors of 5 are 5 and 1. Will 5 go into 25? It will. Will 5 go into 45? It will. So that tells me that 5x is the greatest common factor for this one. Now here is another way of coming up with this. So listing out each term and then figuring out what the greatest common factor or what the prime factorization is from all of those. So 5x to the third is 5 times x times x times x. 25 is 5 times 5, x squared is x times x. 45 is 9 times 5, which is 3 times 3 times 5 times x. Notice all these 5s are in each one, and there's an x in each one. So that's why my greatest common factor is 5x. Let's do this one. So now in this case, I look at the letters. I notice that there's an x in everything. Then I look at the smallest number. The smallest number is 3. Well, that's 1 times 3. So I always look for the biggest one, so I check, will 3 go into 9? It will. Will 3 go into 12? It will. My greatest common factor is 3x. So the greatest common factor will be the biggest number that will go into all of them, and the variable is the variable with the largest exponent that will go into all of them. So as I look at number 15 here, there is no letter. Okay, so that makes this a little bit easier. There's no letter. So now I look at the numbers 12. Well, 12 is 12 times 1, 6 times 2, and 4 times 3. So will 12 go into 20? It won't. That's too big. It won't divide evenly in there. Well, 6. Now notice I'm going for all the big ones. Will 6 go into 20? And unfortunately that doesn't work. Will 4 go into 20? It does. So 4 will work. And there's not an x, so 4 is my winner. Now let's look at these. There's a w in both, so let's take out a w. I'd like to take out w squared, but this is just a w, so I can't do that. Now let's look at the numbers. 8 is 1 times 8 and 4 times 2. Well, 18 divided by 8 doesn't work. 18 divided by 4, that doesn't work. That doesn't divide evenly. 2 works. You know, look at this one. There's no letter. So now I look at 27. That's 1 times 27 and 3 times 9. Well, 27 times 2 is 54, so that's a little bit too big. That one doesn't work. Oh, but 9 does go into 45, so 9 is my greatest common factor. Now we start adding a few more terms and just a little bit more complication to this. So first thing I do is I'll look for letters. There is a common letter. There's an A and everything. Now let's talk about numbers. This is a 1, so that kind of ruins it. Because 1 will go into all those things, but unfortunately the greatest common factor is 1 for 1, so that's it. Number 19. Okay, no letters. Think about numbers. Well, I got 4 and 1 and 2 and 2. So let's try 4. 4 will go into 12 and 4 will go into 28. So that's it. 4. Here are this. Letters. There's an x to the fourth, x to the third, x squared. So let's take out an x squared. Numbers. 14 is my smallest. So I got 1 and 14, 7 and 2. 14 times 2 is 28. Oh, that misses this one. And 7 works. So 7 will get them all done. So 7 is my greatest common factor. Okay, so this is the beginning of this. And now what we'll have to do is we're going to have to factor it. Not just find the greatest common factor, but to factor it. So now I'm going to go through the same process again. I look at these, there's a letter in each one of them. There's an X in each one of them. Then I look at the numbers. 4 is the smallest choice. Will 4 go into 24? It will. Will 4 go into 8? It will. So that means I'm going to take out a 4. Now what I like to do is I like to divide. I write this as divided by 4x. Under each one of these things, it kind of helps me see it a little bit easier. So 4 divided by 4, well, that's a 1. Now I have x to the 5th over x to the 1st. Well, that goes away and this becomes just a 4. So that goes right in here. All right, so now 4 into negative 24 is negative 6. And honestly, I start just putting down a sign and stop messing with the sign. I just divide them. And x to the 3rd and x to the 1st, well, that's x to the 2nd. 4 will go into 8 2 times. And x into x, well, those are goners. So right here is my answer. Now this, without a doubt, does take a little bit of practice so that for us to get this really understood. Okay, so this one, there's a letter in both. Let's take out the M. And the numbers, so I'm looking at 6 and 1, 3 and 2. Well, 6 won't go into 15, so that's a goner. So 3, that's it. So I'm going to divide this by 3m and divide this by 3m. M's are easiest, I think. So this is m to the 2nd, this is m to the 1st. That means I'll end up with 1m. And 3 go into 6 2 times. Okay, and 3 goes into negative 15, negative 5 times. And the m's, they cancel out. Number 4. Okay, it looks like I got, oh, I can take out an x. And then let's start looking at the numbers. Oh, right here, I got 4 and 1, or 2 and 2. Well, 4 gets the job done. So let's go 4, 4x, and 4x. 4 into 4 is 1, so that's gone. And I just reduce this by 1. 4 will go into 8 2 times. And I reduce this by 1. 4 will go into 12 3 times. And the x's get it down. So there it is. Okay, definitely getting a little bit more challenging here as we go. Okay, so now let's try this one. Let's see here. No numbers, no letters, but 6 is 6 and 3, 2, 1. 6 won't go in there, but 3 will. 3 goes in 9 3 times with x, and 3 goes in 6 2 times. 22. Okay, there's a letter and everything. There's a T. So let's take out a T. And unfortunately, that's it. So there are 2 T's here. There's 1 here. So that means that there is 1 left up on the top. And these 2 T's cross off. Number 23. No letters in all of them. There's no N. So 14 won't go into 35. So 7 will. Let's take out a 7. And there's none in any of them. So this is over 7, over 7, over 7. And now I don't have to do anything with the variables. They're going to stay exactly the same. All right, 7 goes into 14 2 times. 7 goes into negative 35 5 times. 7 goes into 28 4 times. Okay, for this one, no letters. Okay, so let's take out a 5, it looks. 5, 5, 5. Those are gone, so this is k to the third. It's 4. It's 3. Okay, so now for this one, I need to take out an x and a 2. All right, so that's a 7. Knock this down by 1. That's a 1, and knock this one down by 1. That's a 4. Knock this one all the way off. Now, I'm going to skip this next one here. Well, I'm going to change it a little bit here. So let's say I have 6 to the 4th, h to the 3rd plus 24, 6 to the 3rd, h to the 5th, plus 12, g to the 2nd, h to the 9th. So now as I look at this, and I want to change this one to, let's change this to 9. So as I look at this, I see a whole bunch of letters. G to the 2nd stands out. Okay, and h to the 3rd. And numbers. 9 is 9 and 3. 3 goes in that, but not 9, so it's going to be a 3 up here. So now I'm going to divide everything by 3, g to the 2nd, h to the 3rd. 9 will go into 3, 3 will go into 3 times. This is the 2nd, this is the 4th, so it's g squared. These two are the same, so nothing happens. 3 will go into 24 8 times. G to the 3rd, g to the 2nd is g to the 1st. G to h to the 3rd, h to the 5th, that's h to the 2nd. 3 going to 12 4 times. The g's match up, so they're donors. H to the 3rd, h to the 9th is h to the 6th. And that's a big one. Okay, let's see, one last piece of news for this one. It's on Canvas. I don't do number 10. All right, have yourselves a good day. Can't wait to see you guys back.